What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Total Takedown. This week we are breaking down UFC Vegas 79. Make sure you check out the full podcast. That's going to be right under the live tab here on Pub Sports Radio. Give me a like and let's get this bad boy rolling. First fight of the night, you've got Montserrat Rendon taking on Tamaras Vidal. Very weird fight here for women's MMA. You've got Tamaras Vidal, who basically does nothing until she explodes and kills her opponent. Questionable gas tank. Still don't know what I feel about her. And then Montserrat Rendon, who looks like she's absolutely jacked coming into this fight. A decision machine. 2 of her last 3 via split. I don't know what's going on here. You've either got Vidal, who's going to at some point kill Rendon and get another knockout win, or you've got Rendon, who's going to wear Vidal out. Maybe she has the ability to get her out of there late once Vidal is exhausted. Probably an over 2.5 spot, but I hate the number. I don't want to lay minus 260 when Vidal has regularly exploded and ended the night on a second's notice, so I'll say over. I'm not betting this one. Next up, you've got Mizuki Inoue taking on Hannah Goldie. Another 2.5 here for women's MMA. The over 2.5 minus 330. The under 2.5 is plus 240. This one maybe we can get a little bit quirky on and take that under 2.5. Hannah Goldie is very physically powerful. She's very strong. She's been working on her grappling. She doesn't have any power in her hands. For someone with all that muscle, it's pretty crazy. She can't hit that hard. But what she can do is overpower people on the ground. She takes home arms and necks, and she's been training with Jillian Robertson. She's been getting some work in on the ground. However, I'm just not sure she's UFC caliber in any way, shape, or form. She is an OnlyFans model. She will likely be cut with a loss on Saturday. Mizuki Inoue has been gone for like 6 years, though. Now, she's been training her butt off, apparently, traveling around. She's working out at Serra Longo, a very good grappling heavy gym. So I do think there's some finishing upside for both women in this fight, believe it or not. And if Inoue has made some of those big leaps and improvements in the last couple of years where she has been gone, she probably just smokes Goldie in this spot. So I don't mind an Inoue finish, and if Goldie, like I said, lucks out with some kind of a sub, under 2.5 at plus 240, it could get there. Another one, not feeling too bullish on. Muhammad Usman takes on Jake Collier. 2.5 the total. Over is minus 120. Under is minus 110, which is a little bit weird considering you've got a heavyweight fight where Collier has been known to get knocked out and clipped by these bigger, more powerful guys. He is coming in much better shape in this spot this time. Usman, he has gone the distance, but he's got that big, raw power. It's another one I don't like. I don't want to bet this total here. For the sake of the show, obviously, I got to give you guys a pick. I will say under. I think the pace of Jake will either melt Usman, or as he's coming in to put it on Muhammad Usman, he will get cracked with that big, powerful, meaty left hand, and one of these guys ends up going to sleep. I'll say violence. Let's go under. Jacob Malkoun takes on Cody Brundage in the next fight. Another really weird total here. 2.5 is over, minus 125. Under is even money, or minus 105. And this one is a tale of two fighters, right? You've got Jacob Malkoun, who can't do a whole lot except wrestle. This guy can wrestle his ass off, though. He will go nonstop for 2 back-to-back 5-round fights without an issue. Incredible cardio, great gas tank. Cody, on the other hand, he wants this fight over in round 1. And if he doesn't get it out of there in round 1, he's pretty much looking for an exit opportunity. This is a tough spot because Malkoun will grind Cody Brundage into dust if Cody doesn't get him out of there early. So you've either got, hey, does Cody survive off his back for 15 minutes, and is Jacob Malkoun willing to accept that top position, just maul this guy for 15 straight minutes? Or does he find a finish at some point, his first finish in the UFC? Cody Brundage is really completely reliant on getting him out of there early. So if it's inside the distance only, it's Cody. Jacob, that's the question. Does he go for a finish? Does he drag it 15? So far, all we've seen from this guy is wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. So I kind of think it's under 2.5 Cody, over 2.5 Malkoun. 2.5 under, I will take that. Mostly because I do think this is life or death for Cody. He's got his back against the wall. They let him fight out his contract. This is his final opportunity that if he wants to stick around in the UFC, he's got to get the win here. But I also think he's a bit of a head case, and I love the guy. So please, I'm not trying to disrespect him at all. But what I mean by that is that I do think that if he doesn't get the finish and he starts to wilt, I think he'll just throw the towel in on this one. I don't think he's going to go away quietly and stay there on national television and get wrestled for 15 minutes and not do anything. Like, if he is getting beaten and he knows it's over and he doesn't have the gas to do it anymore, I kind of think Malkoun finds that finish this time around. So I will say under 2.5 here in this fight. Tim Means takes on Andre Fialho up next. 1.5 the total. Over 1.5 minus 150. Under 1.5 plus 120. I kind of leaned the under again. Another, this entire card is so sketchy, folks. It's going to be fun to watch. I think there's going to be violence, but it's tough to bet. Tim Means needs to drag this fight deep. Andre Fialho does not win if he gets out of that first round. If you drag him late, he gets figured out, people put it together, and they find a way to beat him. Now, Tim Means is old. He's been getting choked out a whole lot. He leaves his neck hanging out there. He's very chinny. Even though he hasn't been knocked out recently, he doesn't like getting hit the way that he used to, and he's got that tall man's defense. Fialho doesn't have a great chin himself either, so either one of these guys could get chinned early in this fight, but I kind of think the young man in Fialho is going to have just a little bit more pop in his hands, and he'll be able to clip Tim Means early on. I have doubted Tim Means many a time, and he's made me pay for it. So I'm not sure I'm betting this one. I'll say under 1.5 at plus 120, but zero conviction there in that pick. Daniel Arrueta takes on Miles Johnson. Another 2.5. Over is minus 175. Under 2.5 is plus 135. And this one I kind of predict to end right on that 2.5 marker. It makes it very, very tough to bet this one because Miles Johns is going to look to take Daniel Arrueta's head off. However, Daniel is a wrestling machine, an absolute monster in there with his cardio, his grappling. He's going to force Johns to grapple, and we know that wears him down. We know that tires him out. It's a matter of when does Miles Johns break or does he catch Daniel coming in? So I do think we're going to see a violent fight here in this one, but I think the durability of Daniel Arrueta is going to hold up, and I think the cardio of Johns is going to fail. It's a matter of do we get that third round finish or not. I will be sprinkling Daniel Arrueta in round 3 more than likely, but I don't know if I like this total because minus 175 for an over 2.5 when I might, need another 30 seconds right there in the third round. I don't like that. I'll say over, but I'm passing. Ricardo Ramos takes on Charles Jourdain up next. We've got another 2.5 total. Over 2.5 minus 130. Under 2.5 even money plus 100. I know Charles Jourdain had a beautiful performance in his last fight where he defended the takedowns, he stayed on the feet, and he chipped himself away at a 15-minute decision. But I don't think that's Charles Jourdain. That's what he had to do in that fight because he was facing a Gracie. What we see from Charles Jourdain is he goes out there and he goes to war. And what we see from Ricardo Ramos is that if his opponents make things sticky, if it gets dirty in there, he will also go to war. And he'll either look for a takedown with some nasty finishing offense, or he'll throw flying knees and spinning heel kicks, and someone's going to die. I'm going to say under 2.5 here in this spot because either Ricardo Ramos will find his way to a sub on the mat, he'll catch Jourdain with something crazy, or Jourdain is just going to put it on him until he breaks. And we have seen that happen before. So I'm going to say violence for Ricardo Ramos and Charles Jourdain. Next up, you got Bryan Battle and AJ Fletcher. 2.5 again, the total. Over is plus 100. Under is juiced minus 130. They are expecting violence in this spot, and I kind of like the over. I kind of like bucking the trend here on this one. AJ Fletcher is tough. He's durable. Even though he's got a couple spots where his cardio looked like it failed him, he digs deep. He's the guy that's able to just kind of mentally be tough and push through his exhaustion, and I think he can do that here. He's going to need to wrestle Bryan Battle because we know he's at a huge physicality disadvantage with the height and the reach on the feet, and he's also at a technical striking disadvantage. Bryan Battle is a guy who can take whatever you give him. He'll look for a sub if you go to the ground. He'll play off his back for a little too long sometimes in that circumstance. He can get wrestled. If you're striking with him, he's going to look to take your head off with those big kicks and those long punches. So I do think a finish on the feet from Bryan Battle is completely possible. But I also think AJ Fletcher could be the punching bag type where he gets a takedown here or there, he takes some damage on the feet, and then he punches his way right back into range. And even if he's not successful, doesn't quite get out of there. So I kind of think we're going all 15 minutes here. I'll say over 2.5. Marina Rodriguez takes on Michelle Waterson-Gomez up next. Another 2.5 total, and I think it's definitely over with the finishing upside on Marina. I mean, the only thing I can say is maybe Michelle is ready to hang it up. I do think we're close to that stage of her career. It's almost time. She's been here for freaking ever. So I think Marina Rodriguez has a chance to get Michelle Waterson-Gomez out of there, but not many people have actually been able to pull that off. I'll say over 2.5. Co-main event, Bryce Mitchell, Dan Ige, 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 240. Under 2.5 is plus 180. And I do think it's an over spot just because Dan Ige cannot be finished. I have played with the idea, I bet Bryce Mitchell. I've played with the idea of maybe Bryce Mitchell is the guy who surprises everybody and gets Dan Ige out of there. Maybe he finds a choke. He does have some slick submissions. Dan Ige does give up his back. But at the end of the day, I just think Dan Ige is too damn good. He's too defensively solid. You can't hurt the guy on the feet. Even though Bryce has some natural power, he's not a very good striker, so he's going to be outgunned. And Bryce Mitchell's also got kind of a brick for a head. So even if things aren't going exactly his way, maybe Dan Ige can knock him out, but I really don't see that either. So definitely looking over here for the co-main event in probably a very competitive fight. Rafael Fiziev takes on Mateusz Gamrot in your main event for this weekend's fights here, and the over 4.5 is -130. I like the over. I do like the over. I think these guys are going to go back and forth. It's going to look a whole lot like the RDA fight, where I think Gamrot will have some success in the grappling. Whether or not he's able to keep it going for a full 25 minutes and get the decision victory, or lose a split based on damage and output, that's a question for the judges. I might play the over 4.5 though here in this spot, because I do think both guys are tough. They are durable. Both guys are actively looking to move up in the rankings. I don't feel like either of these guys is ready to throw the towel in or retire or anything like that. And they've got just kind of a differing set of skills, right? Like, if Gamrot's on the feet, he's going to be looking to be defensive and stay away from the striking. Rafael Fiziev is also going to be looking to defend the takedowns and try to protect himself in the grappling area. So I think we could find a lot of stalling. We could get a lot of body locking. We could get a lot of staring at range, playing up against the cage, that just kind of drives this thing up and over for a 25-minute battle that, again, is probably a very close and competitive fight where you may not want to pick a side. That's the Total Takedown, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button for me. We'll see you tomorrow for the Undefeated Post-Weigh-In show. Let me know your favorite total in the comment section below, and good luck on all your degenerate action. Let's roll.